This is a video on how to enter piecewise functions on a graphing calculator. So I wouldn't recommend doing most piecewise function problems using a graphing calculator, but the more you know, the better off you are. So if there ever is a problem where you're stuck and you're not sure, knowing how to enter a piecewise function is a great thing. In my handout that you see posted, they show two different methods, and I like what is called the division method. So this first example is an example of the division method. Do not use the multiplication method, and the reason that I say that is it gives you an erroneous table. So I'm going to go to a problem farther along in here. So here you see the multiplication method. I do not want you to use that because the table does not come out correctly. I'm going to go to one that has a compound inequality. So I'm showing you all the different things that you need to do. And so this is what it would look like when you're done. But where do you find the signs, less than or equal to, and the word and all of that stuff? And then how do you look at the table? So you go to y equals. You can see that I've got some stuff in there I've been playing around with. And you start off with the first function. You're going to put that in a set of parentheses. So x squared plus 1. And now we're going to divide. And I'll explain this as best I can. And it's a programming thing, because the calculator just runs on programming language. Left parenthesis, and then we're going to enter x is less than or equal to -1. So variable x. Now, the inequality signs are behind the math key where it says test. Let me zoom in here. You're going to be using that key, the test key, to get all the inequality signs and the and the ors and all that 9 yards. So make sure that you're seeing that key. So I'm going to go second test, and now we want less than or equal to, which is 6, and then -1, right parentheses. Now, why did we divide? And this is my best answer. So when that is false, the calculator inserts a 0, meaning that you can't divide by 0, and it's going to be undefined, and it'll put undefined in the table, and it won't graph, which is exactly what we want. When it's true, it's a 1, and so you're dividing x squared plus 1 by 1, and it's going to graph that, and it's going to put the table in. That's the simple explanation. It's Boolean algebra. Crazy, crazy. All right, next one, x plus 4. And now we're going to divide by this. And yes, life would be great if we could just enter that as you see it, but that's not how it works in the good old Boolean algebra world. So we're going to go back to test, second test, less than x. Now we need the word and inserted. And then we're going to do x is less than 2. Why? It's just a Boolean algebra thing. So we go second test over to logic, the word and then we're going to do x. Now we got to go back to test is less than 2. That's a lot. That's why I would only recommend doing this if you absolutely need it. And then 5, so we'll put that in parentheses, divided by x is greater than or equal to 2. So x second test greater than or equal to 2. And now you're ready to graph and hopefully see this piecewise function. Okay, I'm just going to do a zoom 6, which standardizes everything. Let's see if I got it right. Bam, there it is. And now you're going to have an accurate table. And so let's go to the table. I want to reset my table here. And so if you had any questions, and remember that there's a Y3 farther over here. So if you scroll, you'll get that. So if you had any questions on, if it said f of -1, now you should know that you're going to substitute into the top here. And that -1 squared is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. You shouldn't have to use a calculator to do that. Let's say you were not sure on how to graph. Okay, you could look at that. Let's say some of the evaluating was a little bit crazy. Then you could do this. So here, in between -1 and 2, not counting negative. So we're really just looking at 0 and 1 as far as whole numbers go. And then greater than or equal to 2, which again, you have to go to the right here to get the values, which is all 5. Duh. Okay, so you don't have any substituting to do. But that's how you would look at the table. If you use the multiplication method that is shown earlier on here, it will not work. You'll see zeros where it should be undefined. Okay, so undefined is the correct thing. And that's how you can enter piecewise functions in. I think it's this is a great example here. It's a perfect example to demonstrate everything. I would recommend, again, only doing this if you absolutely need to check a problem out. It takes a lot of time, but the more you know, again, the better off you are. And that's how to enter piecewise functions in a graphing calculator.